Today on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, let's break down some games. It's time for Garbage Time. Welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. I'm your host, Ron Seymour, joined today by JJ LaPlante. How are you today, JJ?
I'm doing well, Ron. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Week 2 of football starts tonight. Jumping in here, we'll give you our breakdown of tonight's game real quick. Go live so you hear it before the game if you're actually going to jump in on the live. We will do some news. We got a few games we'll break down, DFS lineups, and the defensive dominator of the week. What do you say we hop right into this?
Absolutely.
Time for Joe's favorite drop.
News updates.
All right, so in the news, one thing for tonight's game, it says Saquon Barkley will be active for tonight's game. As a Saquon owner and a Giants fan, scary stuff that happened last week with Saquon. Only 10 carries. Daniel Jones did not target him all that well. I remember there being one play where Saquon was wide open. It was a little dump off, but it probably would have picked up 10, 11 yards. But instead, Daniel Jones wanted to throw it downfield and throw an incompletion. It was really hard to watch.
Yeah. I've told you in our chat, but I definitely think the Daniel Jones experiment is coming to an end here after this season. So potentially mid-season.
Yeah. The mid-season thing is hard because, who are we going to put in, honestly? But definitely after this year, if things don't take a wild turnaround, it's not going to be great. I will say this as a Saquon Barkley owner in fantasy, if I had a decent pivot option against that Washington defense, I would pivot, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was limited in practice because, they're already cobbling him back in after the knee injury, and he didn't get the full workload, obviously, week 1. So just a kind of what we expected to start the year, kind of the perfect storm for the first 2 games in the short week. So, yeah, I've had a lot of people messaging me, asking me who they should put in instead of Saquon. So it's tough.
Do you remember any of them off the top of your head?
I think one was a lot were receivers. They had downgraded Saquon to the flex, which you shouldn't do on a Thursday night game. But like Antonio Brown, Laviska Shenault, a couple other ones, like wide receiver 3s that were people wanted to start over Saquon Barkley. So that's just kind of where we're at right now.
And I can see it, especially in PPR format. I would, like I said, if I could pivot away from him, I probably would. I just don't know if I can.
Yeah.
All right. A little bit more news. Arians named Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, and Giovanni Bernard all starters. God, I hate that backfield.
Yeah. On the Buccaneers website, for running back, they might as well just put a giant stamp that says clusterfuck in there.
Yeah.
And then we can interpret that because that's basically what it is. So we've all been pretty adamant that it's a situation we just wanted to avoid. I can proudly say I don't have any Gio Bernard, Ronald Jones, or Leonard Fournette on any of my teams this year. So thankful to avoid that.
I believe it's the same one. I have Saquon. I have Ronald Jones as my third running back. Yeah, it's not a great time.
Are you starting him over Saquon?
No. I think I would take the person who actually produced more last week in this case.
That's true.
Produced positive fantasy points for me, not negative.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Crowder and Keelan Cole both limited on Thursday. This just sets up Corey Davis to have another monster week. I think he's a very good start. I think Zach Wilson hyper targets him, and he should finish with another solid week. Who are they playing against again?
Patriots.
Joe
and Ryan will be there.
That's a good defense. But I still think the volume will show through with Corey Davis.
Yeah, they don't have Gilmore right now, so he's not locking Davis down, and Wilson obviously trusts him, and he'll be okay. I agree. He has a serious shot at a good game, so as long as Mac Jones doesn't eat the whole clock with his 3-yard completions up and down the field.
Right. All right. Josh Jacobs, listed as a toe and ankle, is sitting out of practice again. I do think he plays, but if you watched Monday night's game, every time he ran the ball, he got up limping. They tried changing things around and making it better and doing everything they possibly could, but he came up limping every time.
It was gimpy.
Yeah, I feel like at any given point he could just go down and possibly be done for a stretch of games.
Yeah, the Raiders are stupid in my opinion. Like, you gave Kenyon Drake like 8. I think they gave him like $8 million.
It was a significant amount. It wasn't just like $1 million for the year.
Why are you sending out broke ass Josh Jacobs? Just let him get healthy. You got a guy that can kind of
Kenyon Drake. When they gave Kenyon Drake the opportunity, he didn't look bad.
No,
I wouldn't say he looked bad when he was out there. Not any worse than the rest of the offense looked.
Well, hey, they
got that W though.
They heated up.
Yeah. I wanted to speak about that. Brian Edwards at the end of that game, like fourth quarter / overtime, he really started getting looks. Is he someone that we should keep an eye on? I think yes.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I can't even remember who said it, Mayock or Gruden or who it was, but someone comped him to T.O. and he's not that, but he's a talented kid that a lot of people were high on last year and just didn't really get the opportunities. And I think he was banged up last year. So
yes.
Then again, it's frustrating because he didn't get any of that action until the very end of the game. He had a goose egg until the fourth quarter. So
yeah, and I'm trying to temper that, but I feel like one of these wide receivers is going to have to show up. I know Renfro's very involved, and Derek Carr does like him. Oh, that's the opposite side of the field. Sorry, I'm losing my mind. Mark Andrews wasn't very involved. I mean, this passing game, Lamar Jackson isn't the best passer, and I know that, but, he's great for fantasy because of his running ability. But, I mean, he's had games where he's been really good, and if you get him some better weapons, maybe he is a better passer, but he's only ever really had Mark Andrews. Like, he's never had that true dominant wide receiver, and if Brian Edwards can take that leap and become better, it could help Lamar Jackson immensely.
Wait, I'm confused. Brian Edwards is on the Raiders, right?
Oh my God, Brian Edwards is on the Raiders. See, I'm going back and forth. My mind is everywhere. Yeah, Brian Edwards. Same thing, though, with Derek Carr. Like, he needs another weapon. These teams were so similar on offense, I was getting confused. They both need wide receivers.
I guess in watching the game when we just couldn't decide who the hell was going to win it, your mind just morphed the teams into one thing with all the players.
Yeah. Same thing, though. I mean, Derek Carr needs a weapon because Derek Carr was good when he had Crabtree and Amari Cooper.
Well, he's pretty good last year. I mean, he's got Ruggs, who's a weapon, but they don't really know how to use him. So
yeah.
And Waller.
20 targets. Or whatever it was. It was close to 20.
He's coming for that tight end 1 position here. Well, obviously he's a tight end 1, but number 1 overall tight end this season, right. I think. Kelsey can't keep up with that volume.
Marquise Brown not practicing again Thursday. Apparently, I believe it was his ankle he hurt, is what I've seen. It doesn't say listed here. He's always injured. This guy.
Yeah, So a lot of these speedy guys are always on the, Deshaun Jackson went through it his whole career, and who else? John Ross Giants, it's been the story of his career. So
Yep. The only one that ever seems to really stay healthy is Tyreek.
yeah, he stays very healthy.
All right. Do you got anything else for news?
We talked Josh Jacobs. Jonnu Smith popped up on the injury report with a hip. So I was pretty high on my edit. I'm in our league, but unfortunate to see. And they got Hunter Henry there, so who knows how that's going to shake out. But he's been limited. I would guess he's going to be active. Just instincts, but just something to keep an eye on. Look for the injury report tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. We also wanted to bring up defensive line for the Cowboys. DeMarcus Lawrence, who is probably their best defensive player, is injured. I don't know. Have they said if he's going to miss the week for sure yet?
Yeah, he broke his foot and had surgery. So
that's right. Yeah, that's right. He broke his foot and had surgery. He's going to be out probably for a few weeks then at least. I don't know.
Yeah, he's going on IR, and I mean, it would be months, I would assume, that he's out with that. So
this is great news for Dallas Cowboys fantasy owners.
Yeah.
Because they are going to have to throw that ball to stay in games. And that's great news for fantasy lovers. Not so much for Dallas Cowboy fans, because they're going to lose a lot of games, I think.
I'll give the Cowboys a little credit, because they say that you could tell that the defense had got better, and they got a couple turnovers on Brady, and I know some was just mishaps by the running backs, but still they look better than last year, in my opinion, but this certainly doesn't help. And this week versus the Chargers has all the makings for an absolute shootout. So,
yeah, it's going to be a high-scoring game. I like it. All right, I believe that's it for the news. So we will jump right into our weekly picks for these games. I believe this drop is for that.
That looked right. You're muted, buddy.
Yeah, that was weird. My whole thing froze. It had picks of the week stuck up on my screen, and I was all muted. That was great. All right, so we'll start with today's game. Get this out of the way. It's going to be probably a pretty good snooze fest. Definitely a defensive game between the Giants and the Washington football team.
Yeah. I mean, this has like a 2017 or 14-17 type game written all over it, in my opinion, but you never know. These Thursday night games can get weird at times. So
yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm picking the Washington football team, but
obviously I'm picking the Giants because I'm a homer.
Yeah.
I think there is a pathway that the Giants win. I mean, Tyler Heineke played very well at the end of last year. I'm not going to take anything away from that. I mean, he did almost beat the Buccaneers in the playoffs. Not going to take anything away from him. But it is a different team with him under center rather than Ryan Fitzpatrick. But we still have Daniel Jones and a banged up, not fully playing Saquon Barkley. So kind of hard to decide.
Yeah, Giants D is gonna have to show up and keep them in the game, and it can stay close, and they could definitely steal it. But yeah, I'm not super excited about this game, but just thankful for Thursday football.
That's true. Yeah, the Giants defense still looks good, pretty much kind of like it did last year. I mean, we were pretty much stopping the run until Melvin Gordon decided he wanted to bust off like a 60 or 70 yard touchdown run right at the end of the game. Not that the Broncos offense is anything to, be proud of holding anything back on, but our defense still did play and look good. I think we can hold the pieces for the Washington football team down a little bit, but I just don't know if we'll score enough points to be able to win.
What do you think Antonio Gibson does tonight?
I'm really split here because I have him in a few leagues. One less now.
Yeah, we made some trades.
He got moved all around in one of our leagues this week.
He did.
I think production-wise alone, he'll have an all right fantasy day. I don't think he'll kill you. He's involved in the passing game enough. He gets enough of the carries. He probably will still have a decent day. I don't expect him to have like a destroying type week. So there's very few people I would start. You have to start Terry McLaurin, which is going to be hard because you're going against James Bradbury, who is probably a top 5 corner in the league, I would say. Honestly, if you go look at all of his numbers and everything, he really is a very good corner. He just doesn't get the interceptions. Like, he's not that guy that's going to get 5 interceptions in a year. He just doesn't. But contested passes and all that, he's very good. Antonio Gibson, you're starting. On the Giants side, that's just crapshoot. I still believe Sterling Shepard would be the wide receiver to start.
Yeah.
He has the greatest rapport with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones trusts him. I did like at the end of the game last week that Daniel Jones was starting to give Galladay the chance. You know what I mean? Because Galladay's whole thing is contested catches.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a weird feeling that Galladay is just going to catch like a 40-yard touchdown tonight. I don't know why.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't know why. I just feel like these Thursday night games, weird stuff always happens.
Right. Well, and it's just one broken play, really. I mean,
yeah.
Daniel Jones is accurate. He's not an inaccurate quarterback.
I mean, you can't have the full sleeves at QB and be inaccurate.
Right, exactly.
You can't do that.
I think he's a better quarterback than what he shows, but he fumbles way too much. And the offensive line does not help him out at all.
Yeah, I saw that Billy Price, they bumped up and he's going to start tonight. And it looked like they shifted around on offensive line a little bit, trying to play with it. Got a tough task tonight, though, that's for sure.
We could have got a offensive lineman in the draft, but we decided to trade back and get Kadarius Toney.
I appreciate
who
that.
had like 2 carry or attempts or anything all game. Yeah, number 1 pick. Awesome.
And you never know. It's early.
I don't have high hopes. All right. Who do you got winning this game? You said Washington, and I said the Giants.
Yeah, I like Washington
Sweet.
in this one. Close one.
Moving on. Let's go with the Chiefs and the Ravens, which will probably be one of the – well, it seems like it should be one of the funner games to watch this week, but maybe it won't be.
Yeah, I think this could be a blowout. I think Chiefs pretty much own them, and the Ravens obviously have been decimated by injuries. The receivers are banged up, and now Ronnie Stanley, their left tackle, sounds like he's not going to play. So it could be a very long night for the Ravens. I think the Chiefs could win this pretty convincingly.
Did you see that the offensive coordinator said this will be a 4-headed monster at running back once they elevate Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, that's
going to be fun for fantasy.
It's not. It's really not. Tyson Williams looked pretty decent Monday night. I know his pass protection was questionable at best, but he looked explosive. But they're going to bring all these old veterans in to vulture carries, and it's just going to be a giant blob at the position.
Yeah, Tyson is definitely the most explosive one there. I mean, but it's going to be hard to start him if they're going to be given 4 different running backs carries. Plus, you got Lamar Jackson stealing carries. Like, unless they go like that full house pistol set every time, and there's 3 running backs on the field along with Lamar Jackson, like, which I guess they could do. They don't have any wide receivers, so why not put the running backs out there?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this one for the Ravens. It is at home, so maybe they can keep it close for a little while, but
I mean, their defense still isn't bad. And we got to remember, yes, they lost to the Raiders, but the Raiders also beat the Chiefs like once every year. So, I mean, and the Raiders defense looked very good Monday night. Like,
For the Raiders.
I don't know if that was a product of the Ravens looking bad or if the Raiders just actually looked good.
I think the Raiders got a little better and the Ravens got a little worse. Just the combination of those two things, I think. But
all right, I believe I picked the Chiefs to win this game. I think we all did, if I remember correctly.
yeah, I picked the Chiefs. What are your thoughts on CEH? Do you think they're going to get up this week, and is he finally going to have like a good game? Like
we've been waiting for 2 years, really.
Yeah.
I just feel like that this team is very focused on passing the ball. They're very good at passing the ball. And running the ball is more of a just something they feel like they have to do. Like from time to time, it's just very scary. Joe says, who's going to be better for fantasy this year or this week, Lamar or Jalen Hurts?
Looking like Jalen Hurts, really.
Wait a minute. Who's the Eagles playing?
49ers.
For this week, I'll give it Jalen Hurts this week.
I think Hurts.
I'll give it Jalen Hurts. Shut up, Joe.
Yeah, why aren't you in here? You're sitting here watching it. Why don't you jump into the conversation?
I know. He says he can't go on the show because he's already done 2 shows this week. But like he's, whatever. All right. So I just looked, and actually Ryan has the Ravens winning this game.
Ballsy.
Very ballsy. Alrighty. We will move on. Oh, the Chiefs. You start the same people that you start every week. Nobody else. Don't take your risks on any of these other wide receivers. Yeah. Yes, one of them might have a good game. Don't worry about it. It's Mahomes, it's Kelsey, it's Hill, and CEH pretty much just because of where you started him, and he'll have a nice baseline. I think he has a good floor. Probably won't give you many explosive games.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just funny, like off-season, everyone's like hyping up McCole Hardman again, and
every year.
3 catches for 19 yards, and it's Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce show. So,
and honestly, if they ever needed another person to throw to, I think it would be CEH. Like really, if it was like a consistent thing, that's where I think it would go. Yeah. All right, moving on to Chargers and Cowboys. This is going to be one of the better matches of the week. Honestly, this could be right up there. Maybe one of the better matches of the year. And the thing is, I think every Cowboys game this year could be one of the best to watch because they could all just end up being shootouts. Right. So, yeah. Let's see. I picked Dallas. And Joe's the only one who picked the Chargers to win this.
I think I picked the Chargers.
Not according to my list. We got Dallas, and Joe was with the Chargers.
Well,
so
I want to change that.
So what does previous JJ know that now JJ doesn't know apparently?
Well, what I know, like the DeMarcus Lawrence injury, Lael Collins is suspended, the right tackle. Their line's banged up in general, and I don't know. I mean, the Cowboys need the game more. I think that's why I initially picked him, but just going in and looking, I just
Oh, good. Our other host is now in the comment section instead of being on the show, saying CEH isn't even worth a RB2 spot. No, don't join in on the show. Just watch from a distance, you nerds.
Hey, at least we have viewers. Just have our people. It's not that bad. That's why they didn't join the show.
So sad. That they have to be our viewers.
No.
All right. Cowboys, you start everybody that you would normally start. I think Ezekiel Elliott will have a bounce back week this week. I do believe a lot of that was just game plan against that Tampa Bay defense, which worked. I mean, they almost won the game. So,
yeah. So I worry a little bit with the line being what it is. But I mean, they're paying. They have to use the guy. I mean, they're giving him so much money.
Right.
Another guy to keep an eye on, Cedric Wilson. Their number 4 wide receiver, Michael Gallup, is going to miss this game. And you saw Will. I think he only got like 3 or 4 targets Thursday night, but he's gonna. I mean, I think he's gonna absorb those roles, those targets that Gallup got week 1, maybe. And he's only $3,100 on DraftKings. He could be a pretty sneaky play for you. Just someone to keep an eye on.
Would you start him in like a week or not DFS, just like your normal leagues? Would you flex him?
I'd have to be desperate, but there's definitely a path where he could have a big game. And he's shifty, fast player. I mean, he could break one off at any time. So
the only thing that worries me is the fact that I do think they run the ball more, and I think they still will be fairly successful running the ball. So I don't think that you see Dak throwing the ball as much as he did in week 1. And if he throws the ball less, a bulk of his throws are still going to go to Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. I just don't know if Wilson will get the volume to do anything. Like, he could get another 3 catches for 31 yards and have the same stat line.
Absolutely.
Let's go to the Chargers side of the ball. Obviously, you're going to start Justin Herbert. You're going to start Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler, who had a pretty decent week last week, was actually involved in goal line work, which was nice. That's not something you normally see from Austin Eckler. What about Mike Williams?
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's locked in as a wide receiver too. A lot of people were scared of Josh Palmer, but he got all those crazy targets from Herbert, and I think he'll probably get him again. I feel like Eckler's probably going to get at least 1 target this game, so maybe not quite as many, but I definitely like his outlook this week. Keenan Allen's one of my favorite receivers this week. He's going to be in my DFS lineup later, so I love the Chargers receivers this week. Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, it has all the makings of an absolute shootout. So
nice. If you had to choose one of these defenses, which one would you choose?
Probably the Chargers. They got more talent. They got Bosa and Derwin James, and I think the Cowboys probably have to throw 40 times in this game, in my opinion. I can see it being back and forth, so sacks and interceptions are definitely possible when you do that.
All right. Eagles versus San Francisco. This is a I want to see what happens type of game this week. Jalen Hurts had a very good week 1, but that was against the Atlanta Falcons. So is it a product of him actually being good or of the Falcons defense being that bad? Which it is. And with the San Francisco 49ers, I want to see this running back room. I want to see if Trey Sermon is active, and I want to see if people are going to be real sad that they spent nearly all their fab to get Elijah Mitchell onto their team, because there's been plenty of leagues where he's gone for well over $80.
Yeah, I didn't get him in any leagues. He was the number 1 waiver claim in all my leagues.
And you were too busy winning last week to have number 1 priority, right?
I didn't win.
Oh.
I got whooped. I played the high scorer of the week in your league. The 49ers, you just saw they added Kerryon Johnson to their practice squad, and then they claimed Trent Cannon off waivers, and Jeff Wilson's going to come. Like, it's just a mess.
And they still have Trey Sermon, who they traded up for in the draft to get in the 3rd round. Like,
yeah,
I know Elijah Mitchell looked really good, but this is Shanahan, and he's going to want to be proven right because people have been talking smack about him trading up to get Trey Sermon in the 3rd round. He wants to bring him out there and show, like, look what I did.
Yeah, I don't know what the guy's going to do. Who knows? I think I don't know what's going to happen in this game. I think the 49ers secondary is vulnerable, so I think Hurts could have another good game.
Apparently, if you in the comments, Joe says, 300 passing yards this week for Jalen Hurts.
I could see it. They lost Verrett towards ACL, and obviously Sherman left in free agency, and there's holes there in their secondary. So they're susceptible. So I could definitely see that happening.
All right. Who do you got winning this game?
I picked Philly. I'm buying into the hype a little bit. I hate what Shanahan's doing with the quarterback situation, my team's doing the same thing, and I hate it. I can't stand it. I think they could throw enough of a wrench in Garoppolo's confidence to maybe cough it up a couple times in this one. And I believe this game's in Philly, right? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yep, in Philly.
It's their home opener. They're going to come out fired up, so I think that's the difference. So I took Philly, and I like Hurts to have a pretty good game this week.
You picked Philly. The other 3 of us picked the 49ers, so this could be a spot for you to jump out in front of us.
Yes, it could.
Did you guys – I wasn't on the Monday show. Did you guys say what our records were for the Pick'ems last week?
Oh, yeah. Joe and I, before the Monday night game, Joe and I were 8-7, and you and Ryan were 7-9.
And we all picked the Ravens.
7-8, and we all picked the Ravens. So you guys went 7-9, and we went 8-8.
All right.
So,
we're right on top of it, guys. We know exactly what we're talking about.
That's a tough one, though. Now you kind of got to feel for these teams a little bit. So,
all right, and looks like the last game we'll be talking about, the Las Vegas Rams versus the Indianapolis Colts. Man, that Rams team. That's going to be a hard one to beat this year.
Yeah, they look good.
They looked real good, yeah.
I didn't give them enough credit because defensively they had a decent amount of turnover, but they came out tight and kept the ball in front of them and limited, and the Bears had the dumbest game plan ever, so that may have benefited them. But
well, you mean letting receivers run open 30 yards down the field? That's not a solid game plan.
Well, the defensive side of the ball, but offensively, the Bears were the only team in the NFL to not throw a pass over 15 yards. So there's that.
Jeez, that's wild.
Yeah. So, but either way, it's probably a bad matchup for the Colts. Montgomery did get going versus the Rams, so there's potential for Jonathan Taylor to maybe eat some clock and keep it tough. But
did you see the passing percentages for Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines? They each individually had 20% of the team's passing.
Yeah.
So a total of 40% of the team's passing were to 2 guys, and they were both running backs.
Running backs and tight ends definitely.
I saw that. I have Jonathan Taylor on a team or 2, and like I was looking at his numbers, I'm like, wow, he's got 5 targets, 5 catches. I wonder if Nyheim Hines got hurt or if he wasn't. No, they both were doing it. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's not quite what I expected, but I think it's going to take a little time for that Colts O to heat up at the time Wentz missed, but I think they're starting 0-2 here.
Yeah, we've all got the Rams to win this. Outside of Jonathan Taylor, would you flex Nyheim Hines?
Probably not.
No?
I probably wouldn't play any other Colt besides Jonathan Taylor in this one.
What about 2 touchdowns, Zach Pascal?
Yeah, I think that was just kind of a fluky type thing.
I agree.
Pittman, I like the player. I still believe in him, but terrible matchup. So
I think Wentz needs to get more comfortable in the offense. I know it's the same offense he ran with his guy there in Philly, but new players. Like, yes, same offense, new players. I think halfway through the year, you'll see this offense take a turn and become more explosive.
Yeah.
However, Matthew Stafford with the Rams was like, it's okay. I don't care who's out there. I'm just going to throw the ball and they're going to catch it and we're going to look amazing. It was phenomenal. But could have just been a bad Bears secondary with bad Bears, play calling in the defense. Like, I don't know.
I think the defense was called okay. It was just all the blown assignments and missed tackles. So the players weren't ready to play. But schematically, I think it was okay. But yeah, it was rough. Absolutely rough. That slot versus the Bears defense is very vulnerable. I told Joe on Monday's episode I like Tyler Boyd a little bit this week to be potentially the Bengals' #1 guy this week. So we'll see.
Oh, all right. I like it. All right. And like I said, we all picked the Rams, so that's going to be a wash for us on that one. Not going to make up any ground. I really need the Giants to win tonight to get myself closer, I hate how me and Ryan were the ones that are behind when we lost last year. Also, we were numbers 3 and 4.
Yeah, we don't know who won last year. Joe and I were neck and neck, I think we were like within a game, and then we just stopped tracking it.
Yeah. All right, let's get into lightning round DFS. All right, we'll start this. We've got a voicemail from Joe, and we will allow him to do his DFS picks. All right, so I'm seeing in the chat that they couldn't hear the DFS thing anyways. Oh, well. But we did have a question that I missed earlier because Joe and Ryan are flooding the chat, so I keep missing all these real ones. Blue Crew asks, 10-team half-point PPR. We got to pick a running back. Barkley, Chase Edmonds, Eli Mitchell.
Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm going to go Eli Mitchell. I know I laid out some problems with that 49ers, but James Conner is still stealing the goal line backs or goal line touches. And it just scares me.
Well, the thing is, though, the 49ers, Eli Mitchell, he didn't get the goal line carries either. Jermichael Hasty did. The only reason he got that touchdown is because he ran it in from deep. So
right, but with the 49ers, they set it up to where that's what they do. So Eli Mitchell could have 7 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown. That's just what happens with the 49ers offensive running backs. Think of the Houston Texans offense last week, but like with a much better scheme and probably better running backs.
I just like Edmonds. I think he's a safer pick, and you saw Mixon have his way with the Vikings last week.
I don't mind either Chase Edmonds or Eli Mitchell over Barkley. And I will say this, if Barkley comes out and has a huge day, I'm sorry. And just know that it's the move I would also make as a Giants fan.
Yeah, I'd assume Blue Crew is a Giants fan, but it's probably. Well, I would just assume with the name Blue Crew.
Maybe he really likes Blue's Clues. You don't know.
Maybe.
And then my question would be: is like he's OG, like from like Steve, or is he one of the new guys?
I just know that Joe came after Steve, and then I don't know what else came after that. So
there's I believe it's an Asian guy now. I don't know his name though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't watch Blue's Clues anymore. I'm a little old for that.
Well, you got kids, right?
Yeah, but they don't watch Blue's Clues either. My youngest is really into Coco Melon, so I know my letters and numbers real well now.
Yeah, that show's obnoxious.
It's so bad, but she loves it so much. All right, why don't you go ahead with your DFS? We'll just ignore Joe's. If he wanted it on here, he could have just showed up.
I got Joe's. He sent it in the chat. So here's Joe's lineup. Joe had, unless he changed it, but I'd assume it's the same. He had Justin Herbert, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Keenan Allen, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Jared Cook, Melvin Gordon, and the Seahawks defense. So I'm not going to give a whole lot of analysis on that. I don't mind it. I got some similar players in my lineup, so I'll go to my lineup here, our DFS lineup. So I have Justin Herbert, Kareem Hunt, David Montgomery, Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson, Tyler Higbee, Tyler Boyd, and the Cardinals defense. So obviously I stacked the Chargers-Cowboys game with Allen, Herbert, and CeeDee Lamb. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. So I stacked them. And then Kareem Hunt, I like to come out as in a mop-up duty role. So I think Cleveland's going to absolutely steamroll the Chargers at their home opener. And I can see Hunt getting a lot of second-half work and catching short passes, getting the goal line carries. I think he'll probably get in a couple times, in my opinion, and maybe even have 5 or 6 catches. So I like Hunt for his price this week. And then I had Allen Robinson. I think the Bears receivers get on track this week. The Bengals play a lot of man defense, and that matches up really well with Mooney and Allen Robinson. So even though Dalton's starting, I think they can still have their way with that secondary. And then I alluded to Tyler Boyd having a good matchup versus the Bears' terrible slot situation. And then Tyler Higbee, we all love him, and he looked awesome Sunday night. Was on the field for like every snap.
Beast.
Yes. So I think he has a big game in Indy this week. So that's where I'm at, as Matt Nagy would say.
And my DFS lineup is non-existent yet. I have yet to make one. So sue me.
Anybody you like this week?
Nick Chubb. I know he's probably more expensive, but I'm definitely going to build a lineup around him. They're playing the Lions?
Texans.
Yeah, they're playing the Texans. The Texans are not as good as what they seem to be via box score from last week. I think Chubb is just going to dominate that game. I wouldn't be shocked if he rushes for over 200 yards and gets like 3 TDs. So he's going to be more expensive, but
I just worry they're going to get up big fast and then take him out of the game. So he's only going to have like 15 carries, but he could absolutely in this game rip off like 2 70-yard runs and have a monster day. So yeah.
All right. So that's our DFS stuff. Ryan's not here, so he doesn't have one either. So it's time for Defensive Dominator.
Yeah.
It did it again. Now it's stuck on my screen again. I got the Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans. Cleveland showed last week that their defense is not to be trifled with. The Chiefs had to come back and play perfect football and require a lot of help from the Browns offense messing up a lot to give them really good field position. There is definitely a pathway where that game could have looked a lot worse for the Chiefs than what it actually did. They snuck out the win just because that's what Patrick Mahomes does. Tyrod Taylor's not doing that. The Browns are going to look very good against this Houston team.
Tyrod revenge game.
Yeah. Well, that's like every team though. He's on the Ryan Fitzpatrick train there, where he's going to play for every team in the NFL.
He's getting there. He's certainly getting there. Yeah, I like the Browns D this week. I did like Joe's play of Seattle and his DFS lineup too. Just looking to forecast that, maybe the only game that has rain. I could see it just being a weird game. Obviously, the Seahawks are capable of scoring big points, so I could see the Titans falling into the trap they did last week too, where they can't ground and pound Henry and they got to try and go into catch-up mode and end up getting sacked and throwing picks. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. And with that, do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Make sure you check us out, www.garbagetimef.com. Join the heckling fandom over there. Send us a voicemail. Most time I can get them to work. For some reason today I couldn't. Or a hate mail telling me how I suck at making the voicemails work. Make sure you check us out on our Instagram at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. Right here on YouTube. If you're watching this, make sure you're subscribed. You hit the bell icon so you know when we're going live or when we post new videos. Make sure you get over to Spotify. Follow us over there. Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review and follow us over there. And pretty much everywhere else you can get podcasts. Also, make sure you check out our sister show, Garbage Time Presents the MMA Podcast. I think the plan is for them to record a show tomorrow before this upcoming weekend's card. They'll give you some DFS advice for the UFC weekend.
I would also like to apologize on behalf of Garbage Time for Casey flashing the Garbage Time audience at the beginning of
we have another start sit that popped up 1 minute ago. It says, should I start Saquon or Miles Sanders? I will lean on Miles Sanders on this one.
Yeah, Miles Sanders, it looks like he was banged up, but it looks like he practiced today. So I think he's going to be ready to roll. I can't trust Saquon Barkley yet. So like I said, these are the messages I'm getting, man. That's you use a first or second round pick on Saquon, and you feel you should be starting the first and second round picks, but it's kind of a unique situation. So
it's hard. I do think Sanders. Saquon ends up having a really good season but he's just got to, get better, and he'll get back to the starting every single week, especially if they do make the switch to Mike Glennon, because he's not going to be running around.
I wouldn't recommend that.
I wouldn't recommend it either, but something might have to happen at some point.
Yeah, and Barkley next week he's playing tonight, so he's going to have a long week to rest, and he's got the Falcons next week at home. So
everybody looks good against the Falcons.
That should be a game where maybe he gets a little more work and maybe gets on track there. But yeah, tough first couple of weeks for Saquon. I'd go with Sanders to answer that question.
Yep. All right, and that is it. We're heading out of here. Thanks for watching.